Okay, for writing today, we're going to be introduced to our GRASS task. A GRASS task is just a little assessment just to see how you're going with your writing. So that we're going to be looking very carefully at your writing for the next couple of weeks. So your goal for the next couple of weeks is to encourage Australians to travel within Australia post COVID-19 to improve the growth of the Australian economy. So as you know, COVID lockdown means that a lot of people are not spending their money. There's not a lot of traveling or no traveling happening. A lot of businesses have actually been closed. So we're going to look at when lockdown is over and being able to promote and encourage Australians to go and travel around Australia so that we can spend money with these businesses so they can remain open. So your role is that you are actually taking on the role of Blinky Bill, who is on a mission to save Australian tourism after COVID. Blinky Bill is a very famous Australian character, and he was really famous when I was quite young, and I used to love this cartoon, and he is an iconic Australian character who is off to go and save Australian businesses. So the audience are Australian citizens. The situation is that Australian businesses need people to help them stay open after lockdown. If people travel around Australia, they will also be visiting cafes, restaurants, hair salons, etc. You're going to create a tourism brochure, guide, or a news clip, and you'll be doing that in week 10, and you'll be doing that on the Thursday. So all of your combined knowledge. So you can actually create a video of yourself promoting reasons as to why Australians should travel around Australia to promote the economy. So I'm going to be looking for a well-structured, edited, published tourism brochure and guide and a news clip that informs and persuades Australian citizens to travel to Australian destinations. Now we're going to do the lead up for the next few writing lessons. So you're not doing it all at once, but this is to build you up in order to create some type of brochure that you can hand in to the teachers so that we can see that you can write these persuasive sentences. So if you don't know who Blinky Bill is, here's a video that you can watch that introduces Blinky Bill. Okay. The first thing I'd like you to do is watch this here. This video is going to tell you just a little bit of it's a news report that shows the devastation that has occurred to small businesses because of COVID. And if you have any thoughts, any feelings, they don't have to be full sentences, about the impact of lockdown on businesses, I would like you to record it down. The next thing that I want you to do, just for today's lesson, now remember, even though there's a GRASS task, you're not doing it at once, you're not doing it all today, we're just going to build the field, get some knowledge about it. I want you to look at these images here. I want you to think to yourself, this is called visual literacy. What senses do you use when you see these images? Okay, do you feel anything? Can you smell anything? Can you hear anything? Okay, so can you hear the worried conversations that people might be having? Can you see anything, the lack of people around? Do you feel empathy for these people, and what do you think? Record a thought in this box here, and that will just be your writing for today. So you're just building the field. For religion, we're going to think about this part of the doctrine. God's grace helps us to choose to do what is right. We can be signs of God's love for each other. I want you to think. You don't have to respond to all of these, just one. Do you think, do you feel, or do you wonder anything about God's love? That we can be signs for God's love. Then I want you to listen to the story of the rainbow fish, which you probably have heard before, and I want you to think, what does this story tell us about how we relate to other people? Okay, so if you have not listened to this story before, it's a wonderful story about a fish. It has these beautiful rainbow scales, but then a lot of people want a lot from him, and you'll find out what actually happens in it. So I want you to watch the video. In this video, in that story, you'll also see that there are four main concepts that are covered. Okay, the story teaches us about relationships, about sharing, about joy, and what beauty actually means. And one of the biggest points that God wants us to understand is that every person is beautiful in their own way, but it's what's on the inside that counts more than the outside. Once you finish listening to the story, I want you to write a short summary, so what the story was about, any lessons you learned, what the character looks like, and any themes in the story that stood out to you. You can use one of the themes that I've actually listed here.